the fact that the event meant so much to so many people, and that like manifesting in different ways, like seeing the video that you made, or seeing group pictures after the event, or like yeah, people sharing those things with me, like yeah, that'll be the best thing for sure.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to SpeedTalk, episode 22. I'm Zach27, and joined with me today is the co-founder of the Global Speedrun Association, as well as the head organizer of a lot of the biggest events in speedrunning, like Speedrun Summit, I think is coming up in just a few weeks. Yeah, Milo, how are you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Zach? Yeah, good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, no problem. Excited to have you on. I've always been a pretty big fan of it's always been a pretty interest of mine of like organizing like events and stuff in the Odyssey community. So it'll definitely be nice to talk to someone who has a lot of experience with event organization and stuff like that in pretty much speedrunning kind of as a bigger community, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I guess starting off, what would you say your introduction to speedrunning was? Who kind of was like your early inspirations and stuff like that?
Yeah, I stumbled across speedrunning when I first discovered Twitch back in like 2014 or 15, I think. And yeah, I saw Twitch, and on the front page, I saw like a thumbnail for Ocarina of Time. And I was like, whoa, this is like my favorite Zelda game. Like, it's cool. People are streaming this. Whoa, let me check this out. And I click on it, and it was Clint Stevens back in the day, in the OOT days. And so started watching Clint streams, and like, obviously like so many people, mind blown by the tricks and everything in OOT, and kind of just fell in love with it from there. Got into Mario 64 and discovering other games, and yeah, so it was through Clint streams basically, watching them like religiously, like every day, way back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I always assumed it was 64 was the first game that you would have stumbled upon, so
Uh,
that's interesting.
yeah, no, Cheese was the first 64 streamer that I stumbled upon too. But no, before that it was Clint. And yeah, then once I saw Cheese streaming as well, and I tried it myself a little bit too. Yeah, that's when I really got into Mario 64, as a lot of people do.
That's cool. And when did that like what year, if you had to guess, did this all begin for you?
So 2015 when I found speedrunning, and then 2016 when I started trying it myself and streaming myself for a while. I think that was from like late 2016 or early 2017 or something like that, until 2018 was when I was streaming like on my own channel, like grinding Mario and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty quick turnaround too, because I think 2018 was the first or when GSA was made, right? Was it 2018 or
Yeah,
17?
yeah.
Something like
So
that.
about a year and a half to 2 years into me streaming, I had met Cheese at a GDQ, I think in 2017 or 18. And by then, like me and Steve O'Broil, one of the other co-founders of GSA, we had already been talking about so many ideas that we had for like for speedrunning leagues and tournaments and events and stuff. And so after I met Cheese, the three of us got on a call, and like we started talking about actually doing it. There was like a few other people that were involved as well at the time, but like over the years, like it ended up being the three of us that I guess just kept doing it. So yeah, that's kind of how it started.
That's cool, yeah. So I guess that's the kind of origin story behind the creation of it. Uh,
Yeah.
for people that don't know, I guess kind of explain what GSA is. Um, as an organization, what like the mission is of it, I guess. And yeah,
Yeah. Sure. So it originally started because we were so me, Steven, and Cheese, and everyone on the team, we were so interested in making a more, I guess, formal like competitive speedrunning scene, around Mario 64 and then other games that soon followed. We wanted to adopt like I guess like a sports league kind of name, like an NBA, NFL, or whatever. So we just came up with GSA, like, very generic, like Global Speedrun Association. And so that was kind of the vibe, I guess, of the brand or whatever in the beginning, and we kind of just stuck with that. Yeah.
that's pretty cool. In terms of speedrunning itself, like before GSA came around, I guess what's like your experience? What would you say your uh like what kind of PBs did you end up getting, and like what were your biggest achievements up until that point?
Yeah, I did some 70 star. I think I had like a 50 or a 51 or something in 70 star. But then 120, when I moved to 120, that was really what I became really obsessed with, and I was like practicing a lot. I did like 2 months of practice straight or something back in like 2018, and then like my first run back, I got like a 146. And I think after that, I didn't get any more PBs because we started GSA, and that kind of took over like
Yeah,
pretty much all my time. And I haven't really gone back to doing runs since. But yeah, I guess the 146. And at the time, it was like top 30 on the leaderboard, which is kind of crazy. It's probably not even like top 150 now. Um, but yeah, and then I like tied some like I don't want to say this wrong, not single star, but like RTA spreadsheet records. Um, yeah, for like individual stars. Like I think I had one or two records at one point, and like tied a few others. So yeah, so I got in there for a while. And yeah, I still booted up sometimes to like mess around
yeah, that makes
and
sense.
de-rest some stars, but yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say how often do you even get to play anymore? Because I imagine GSA is probably such a time-consuming project to do, especially with I mean, I know you have a staff, but I don't think it's like particularly huge. Now you do a lot of work on it, so I imagine that eats up a lot of your time.
Yeah, and also just like mentally, my mental space for speedrunning stuff is entirely like events and streams and now like another business that I'm running with my brother. So like outs that pretty much takes up the space in my head for like gaming stuff, let's say.
Yeah,
So and speedrunning stuff, especially Twitch stuff. So outside of that, like, yeah, I don't really put in hours to play myself anymore, which is kind of sad. I do miss it in a way, but it's kind of just down to me. Like I can't always like find time to do that again if I want to. Yeah, these days I'm mostly just playing FIFA with like my high school friends. So
nice.
that's kind of the that's how I'm scratching the gaming itch at the moment anyway.
Yeah, I know you're a big soccer guy. I remember I forget what podcast I watched some podcast with you a year or two ago, and I remember there was some soccer discussion in there. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
pretty cool.
maybe the Minecraft one.
I think it was that one,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I
It's
can't
awesome.
remember the name of it right now, but yeah, maybe there. Yeah, yeah, I have always, yeah, I'd say soccer is actually my biggest passion more than speedrunning or music or anything. Yeah, I'm like always watching games or interviews or playing or coaching now. Um, yeah, actually tomorrow I have the final game of this league that I'm in, and we already won the league, and so we're getting promoted and stuff. And yeah, we're gonna get the trophy and everything, so that'll
Wow,
be
that's pretty
that'll be
cool.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's
very.
pretty like, amateur men's stuff, but it's fun.
Yeah, I know you had soccer earlier today, so appreciate you taking time between the big days.
I know, I know. Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
of course.
definitely. Um, so when it comes to GSA, did you ever like envision yourself kind of in a role like this, like with event management and stuff like that? Is that like kind of always been a passion for you, or is that just kind of something that was pretty spontaneous with Cheese and everyone?
Yeah, that's a good question. In the beginning, I definitely didn't see myself doing like as much production or well, lots of the stuff that I ended up doing that like one does when you run a small business, like you wear so many hats. But I think what I do find the most like joy in, or that I ended up discovering, like, really is so much of like who I am, is like organizing stuff for like have an idea for like an event or a group thing or whatever, and then like figure out how to make it happen. And then like afterwards, when like people have had like so much fun and they're happy and everything, that is like, yeah, I that's definitely the most, like, rewarding part of what I do, and I'm glad I ended up, yeah, choosing this route.
Yeah, that's cool to hear because I definitely think I'm somewhat the same way with Odyssey because like I I definitely just don't have as much practice put in as most of my friends because most of my friends are like top runners of the game, and I'm like 40 something place, I think. Just
Mhm.
it's crazy how many people now have sub hour. It's like
Yeah,
120 people or something.
yeah, it's so
Um,
competitive.
but yeah, I definitely have found most of my enjoyment within Odyssey with just doing stuff like this or other events. I was telling you right before the podcast about a big event that the viewers will have to wait for, but
Mm.
um,
Yeah, we won't spoil it.
it'll be pretty cool. Yeah. Um, but when it comes to the first event, because I know you did, there was something before Pace. I forget what it was called. 2018. What kind of went on behind the scenes in making that possible, and what was it? I guess.
Yeah, so PACE was the first in-person event we did.
Okay.
That was in 2019,
I believe
if I'm
so.
not,
Yeah.
yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
the second half of 2018 was when we just did, like, online tournaments, and, we were kinda getting our footing and, like, who we wanted to work with, and even seeing if like people cared about our tournaments and stuff. And then yeah, 2019 was the first pace. And the second event we did, or we might have done two others. We did Smash and Splash, which was in Wisconsin. That was like we were part of like one of the side events of a huge Smash tournament that is now called Riptide. It's kind of like the spiritual successor, I think. And yeah, we were like one of the side events there. I think that was in August or something, 2019. And then towards the end of 2019, we did GSA Legends. So that was the first kind of like summit style event that we tried, and it was at the venue, or the venue where a lot of the Beyond the Summit events were. So Smash Summit and Dota Summit and stuff like that. So yeah, those were the three first events we did in 2019, but Pace was the first one.
That's cool. And I guess what kind of gave you the idea of Pace? I remember that first Pace very vividly because I mean I wasn't there obviously. I was like probably like 13. I don't even know.
I was gonna
Um,
say, how old would you have
I
been?
was
That's
probably really
crazy.
young, yeah. But I do remember that it was, at least I'm pretty sure it was the first phase that had the Odyssey tournament going on
Mhm.
with like
Oh, yeah.
Nitro and Lil Curbs and everyone. So
Yeah, there's
yeah, it was
Nitro,
pretty cool.
Chaos, Slow Curbs, and Stravos, I think.
I think Strava's in it.
Or if
Sounds
I'm
right.
wrong about that, I'm forgetting the fourth guy. I'm sorry, but yeah, I think it was Strav.
I think it was Strav. I think it got that rings a bell. And then I know there was Celeste and 64. I assume was the third one.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, those were the three.
so yeah, so I guess what kind of gave you guys the idea of pace and how many people did you like have to help you kind of launch that at the beginning?
Yeah, so the idea for doing an in-person event so soon, I mean, you can imagine like 6 months into me doing anything, and a lot of us on the GSA team doing anything that had like some decent viewership. We were only 6 months into running online tournaments, so then like doing anything in person was like terrifying. We never even really thought about it. But luckily, the idea for Pace came through a collab with Speedrun.com. Actually, the previous owner of Speedrun.com, Pack. He was a good friend of Cheese's, and he kind of mentioned that he wanted to do an event with us because we had already been kind of collabing on promoting, like competitive speedrunning through GSA. It was like a partnership with Speedrun.com that we had. So yeah, he wanted to do an in-person event, and we were like, okay, yeah, like we can try and put this together. And names were being thrown around. I think at the time, I the only thing I could think of was calling it like the Speedrun Olympics. I think was
Oh,
what I was
that's cool.
pushing for. With it being like the finals of our leagues and these different games and stuff, and then eventually we wanted to like expand to more tournaments being at the Speedrun Olympics or whatever. But it turns out that the Olympics is actually very, very hardcore on protecting
That makes sense. Yeah.
their copyright, their IP, and so anything named Olympics, like with even a bit of attention, apparently gets like nuked. So we didn't do that, and I think it was Limcube that put out the suggestion for Pace. It being a speedrunning event, like and so yeah, we really liked that name, and we went with that. So yeah, I'm almost certain it was Limcube's idea
Wow.
for the name.
I miss
Yeah,
Limcube. He's an awesome member
yeah,
of the community.
he's awesome. He's
Yeah.
awesome. I ran into him at a TwitchCon. I think was the last time I saw him. TwitchCon. We did like we had a stage at TwitchCon for like a Mario Maker tournament, and he was there. I think that was 2022.
Wow.
Um, yeah, but I know Limcube's still around doing his thing. So yeah, shout
Yeah.
out to Limcube.
Yeah, definitely. And in a good way, it's probably good that it wasn't called the Spear Olympics too, because the Olympics obviously like changes location every year, and I feel like
That's true.
like if you make it too global sounding, then you're gonna get people in like all across the world being like, when are you coming here and stuff like that. So it's probably good
That's
they
true, and
got your little
that was a
location.
fair criticism of the whole Global Speedrun Association thing too. We were just pretty much in the States the whole time and still are. But I guess like at the time we thought like let's not like pigeonhole ourselves into I don't know into some names, but we just wanted to go generic and if we wanted to expand to other places, South America, Europe, whatever, then we could and it would like make sense. But
Yeah,
um, yeah.
definitely. How did you guys kind of get that partnership with the venue going in Maryland at that time? Because obviously that stood for a while.
Definitely. Yeah, we were very lucky in that Cheese ran into Gimmer and Apostle, the two VG Boot Camp brothers. They were the owners of VG Boot Camp and the owners of Xanadu, the venue that we did all of the pace events at. Cheese ran into them at a TwitchCon, I believe, and this was after we had started GSA, and so much of the Smash and speedrunning community are pretty intertwined, and like we know of each other, and so they were like, "Oh, Cheese, like yeah, we've seen your streams, like you're so good at Mario, like." And they just kind of hit it off. And Cheese mentioned, like, oh, like, I'm doing this new thing with GSA. Like, we're trying to get competitive speedrunning to have like more events and prize pools and all this stuff. And they loved the sound of it, and they were like, "Listen, like if you guys ever want to do a in-person event and like try doing your own tournament and all of that, we own a venue in Maryland, and we can work something out for you guys to do something there." And yeah, so they were great partners throughout all of that since 2019, right until Xanadu closed. We learned like so much from them, from working with them, and the connections like that they made for us for like people who helped us like produce future paces and vendors, like everything. They really took us under their wing. So yeah, shout out VG Bootcamp as well because they're awesome guys. And yeah, Pace would not have existed or grown to the scale it did without them, for sure.
Yeah, it was a really cool like it is kind of in the middle of nowhere, but it was a nice venue. Like there was enough stuff to do around. I feel like that it was a very fun like place to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
definitely.
such a unique, like, corner of I don't know, of Maryland, I guess. Like, I grew up in Canada, so, like, I didn't really know anything about Maryland, and yeah, it definitely became it was weird how just this random place became so important to so many
Yeah,
people. It was really
definitely.
cool.
Yeah, it is cool for sure, and it worked out for me very nicely that location because my aunt's house was like 30 minutes from there, so I was able to convince my
Oh, sweet.
parents to let me go under the condition that I stayed there. So
Yeah.
it
Wow,
worked
that's
out.
super clutch.
Yeah,
And
that
I
was
wanted to
clutch.
also, I haven't, thanked you personally for that video that you made, the, like,
Oh, no, no
pace
problem.
compilation of, like
Yeah.
that, yeah, when you asked me to come on the podcast and I, like, looked at some of your other videos you had done, I stumbled across that again, and I hadn't seen it in a long time from when maybe you first posted it, and yeah, that definitely, yeah, made me quite emotional, man.
Yeah.
That was really cool that you made that.
Yeah, definitely. I was making a 2024 rewind for Odyssey because it was a big part of uh, I guess that was definitely a big part of 2024 for us for the community because there was like so many Odyssey members there, especially because of the LTA, I think. And then just so much other stuff happened in 2024, I remember. And so I kind of made that video and I just put it at the end of the rewind. And then I was just like, I might as well just upload it as its own video too. Um,
Yeah, it's awesome.
so
I'm glad
yeah,
you did.
worked out nicely, definitely. Um, so when it comes to pace, I guess what kind of went on behind the scenes with like during the event with just managing the LTAs, all the runs. Like, did you get much time to actually have fun too? I hope, or was it just constant for you?
Yeah, good question. Well, a lot went into pace. It really was, I've said this before, but it really was a labor of love. Um, so much went into it, like in weeks and months, really going into it. Especially if you count like the qualifiers for the tournaments, those were like several months. The run submission process, organizing like volunteer schedules, figuring out hotels, like it's just a whirlwind of logistics
Yeah,
and risk and money being put up front and all this a bunch of like really stressful, like not fun stuff. But what made it fun and worth it was like, getting there and seeing everyone and people having a good time and stuff and like and the very very sweet like things that I'm sure you've heard as well from like from other people and like what pace meant to them. So yeah, it was a lot of logistics, and then actually like beforehand and then once you're there, for me, and a handful of like whether it was volunteers or like some of the other producers, the first 2 days, like before the event even started, it was like a ton of setup, like tables, cloths, like moving stuff around. Sometimes like there was one time where we even had to like rebuild half the stage, like the big stage,
wow.
in the ballroom, or building. Like I straight up, I had to build the stage in the smaller room, like for a bunch of the events, and so it's just like a bunch of really like time consuming stuff like that. That needs to get done, otherwise the event doesn't happen. So yeah, that like there was a couple times where like let's say the day before day 0 or something, I would, like, be at the venue for, like, until, like, 3 in the morning or something, and then I'd be like, "No, like, there's still so much more to do. I
Mhm.
need to be here, like, all day tomorrow from the morning," so I would just, like, find a couch or something to sleep on at the venue, and then, like, couple hours of sleep and then back to it, and then same thing the next night, like and there were some people that were, like, by my side for a couple of those nights, like, it was especially the first one, like the first event, like we had no idea what we were doing. There were guys like Simply and Limcube and if I can remember who else at the time, like there's quite a few of us, like we had no idea what we were doing. We had no idea how much work it was going to be, how long it was going to take. But we were there, and we were like, we're making this happen. Like we're here, let's figure it out. And it was really off of like that that sentiment, that like I guess just determination that like we're here, we're making the event happen. Like that is what actually made the events complete and happen and not fall apart for a lot of them. Was just like people being like, yes, like maybe I'm not being paid necessarily for this or like to go pick this up or like whatever, staying these extra hours, but like it has to be done. So yeah, it was a lot of work by a lot of cool people.
Yeah, that's definitely very cool, especially everyone who volunteers their time for the success of the event is definitely really nice to see, and I imagine very helpful in that process because I know I know with event management it's very hard to just do stuff without the help of other people. So I'm sure that was definitely helpful. Um,
Yeah.
and
And as far as tournaments, or like, putting the content together for the week, I think you asked about that too. Yeah, it was like the submission process, like most marathons do, putting that together. And then I think pretty much for every tournament, aside from Mario 64, that was like, that was our main like bread and butter. Um, pretty much every other tournament, like we were approached by a community, like by Mario Odyssey or what are some other ones we did? We did a Mario Kart thing, we did a SpongeBob thing, like all these other tournaments were just communities that were like had been to Pace and they just saw like the tournaments that were going on and they were like we want to do that. And so we worked with them to put on some cool events and um, yeah, that's pretty much the bulk of it was the content, the 24/7 marathon stuff, the other tournaments, and then all the people behind the scenes that make that happen, commentators, production people, volunteers. Um, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Those conversations bring back a lot of memories for me. And I remember at fall, I think it was Fall Pace 2023, after my all coin stack showcase, which I
Hmm.
was happy to be able to do because I remember it was like a week and a half before Pace, and you just DM'd me and you were like, "Want to do an all coin stack showcase?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And then I
Yeah,
like,
probably.
yeah, I had to. I think I ended up having to stay over the venue overnight to do that, but I was very happy to do that because it was really awesome. Um,
Oh, you're a legend.
yeah,
Yeah,
I forgot that the
there's a lot
stage
of
was in the smaller room at that time too. That
yeah,
was pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
it definitely there was a lot of that, a lot of kind of like building the ship as we're sailing it, as they say,
yeah,
like a lot of last minute changes, whatever, just anything to like just make it work, yeah, I think one of the things I'm the most proud of is that while the event was not perfect and like there were like mistakes made and everything as of course there were. One of the things I'm the most proud of is that, like, let's say our percentage of, like, runs that were scheduled or events that were scheduled or whatever to, like, canceled or that we couldn't do it or we couldn't figure out production once we got or whatever. I think, like, if there were, like, 300 runs and, like, different tournaments and events or whatever, there was maybe, like, 1 or 2 that, like, didn't happen,
yeah,
either because, like, we kinda ran too far behind schedule and then that person, like, couldn't make it anymore and, so it was like, I think those 2 or 3 times were our fault, but yeah, like I mentioned before, that kind of willingness by myself and, like, everyone around me to just, like, do whatever it took to make these things happen really, I think really showed in that, for example.
yeah, definitely. Um, and I remember after the all Quinn stacks run, I was in the car with who was I in the car with? I was in the car with Jack R. Um, trying to remember I mean, I think it was Agron, awesome Agron, and then someone else that was I think doing the stream for my run, or behind the scenes for my run. and he like told me like that they're thinking of doing an Odyssey LTA at Summer Pace 2024, which he probably shouldn't have told me because then naturally I started telling everyone in my friend group. So I kind of might have leaked that a little bit. Um, but
That's right. That's right.
yeah, but then I remember just thinking like, oh yeah, I'll probably be able to get to be in the LTA. And the next thing I know, Tyron is going. All the top runners of Odyssey are signing up, which I didn't get to be in the LTA, but I got to meet a bunch of awesome people, so it was worth that. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's definitely
That yeah,
pretty
that was a
cool.
really competitive one. I mean, SMO always is. Yeah, those are definitely some of the best, like whether it's online stuff or like LTAs or other tournaments and stuff. Yeah, those are
Yeah,
always bangers for sure.
definitely. And with the Switch 2, Odyssey is definitely more competitive than it has been in a long time right now. Like I think
Oh, really? Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, no, VGR is one of my best friends, and he has the 55-18, which is only 5 seconds behind record now. And then I
Holy.
think second place is like 10 seconds behind. So it's all very competitive all of a sudden once the Switch 2 came out. So it's been pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so sweet when like a new
yeah,
thing comes out like that that like breathes life into the scene again. That's awesome.
yeah, definitely. Um, when it comes to pace, and just all of your events recently, at least. Obviously, you have a big partnership with Urban Arts with the charity side of things. How did that kind of start, and like I guess, what kind of is Urban Arts, and why did you choose it as like the charity for the events?
Definitely. So Urban Arts is a after school program that's free for pre-college kids, so high school kids or younger. I think they work in some programs as well. And yeah, basically it's free for underprivileged kids in low income areas and helping, yeah, and stuff like that. And they basically teach them like the arts and science that goes into making video games. So yeah, but it's basically like a prep program to be able to for kids to be able to learn about coding and music composition and design and all the different softwares that go into making video games so that they can have a really strong portfolio to get into college. They're based in New York, and we've been working with them since 2020, I want to say, or 2021. Yeah, and they basically they had approached us and said, "Hey, like we were big fans of what you do. Like, we had they had seen that we had worked with Tackle Kids Cancer, that charity. I think that was in like 2020. And basically, yeah, they were like, yeah, we want to get involved with what you guys are doing. And so, in getting to know them, we just built a great working relationship to fundraise for them. They've even been like hugely supportive in like providing prize pools for our events or like paying our commentators or stuff like that. And even now, like we do our events at their
Yeah,
office. So that the Speedrun Summit events, like the venue for that is the Urban Arts office. So yeah, it's been such a harmonious, I think is a good word, um, relationship with them, because obviously, like the pipeline to for getting kids into coding and making video games and stuff is like directly beneficial for speedrunning, which is what we do. We always want new games to come out and have cool speedrunning aspects or whatever, just good games in general. So yeah, it really is a really fun and great partnership with them, and yeah, we're very thankful for especially what they're providing now with Speedrun Summit.
yeah. I was about to ask about Speedrun Summit too. What kind of made you decide to start that? Because obviously I know you started it while Pace was still going. Um, so I guess what kind of made you want to do that extra event or events every year, and what makes it different from Pace for people that might not be familiar with it?
For sure. So Speedrun Summit came about because our creative director, Yampona, or Pona, as people call him. He asked me one time, like, "Hey, like, why have you never done an event like at Urban Arts?" You know, they have like because they're based in New York, right? Like, that's like a cool place to go for an event, and I was like, "Why haven't we ever done an event there?" And you know, kind of on the back burner, we had always wanted to bring back GSA Legends. I mentioned before that was like
Yeah,
the first summit style event we had done, and it's obviously different to Pace in that it's smaller, it's more intimate, it's more focused around like a certain amount of like invited streamers, and it's not all speedrunning per se. You know, it's more like whatever content with speedrunners, you know? We
yeah,
still do tons of speedrunning, but, you know, we play, like, Mafia at Speedrun Summit, we do, like, a game show, with, like, a bunch of trivia and stuff, we play Mario Party, like, we basically just try to, emulate, like, the spirit of old Beyond the Summit events, and stuff that they did, with Smash Summit and, you know, bringing these players together, but also, like, it not just being a Smash tournament, they would, like, do all this other creative, really fun content. So we kind of that was the idea for GSA Legends, and we kinda just wanted to continue that once we saw the opportunity with Urban Arts. Yeah, we talked to them about it. They said, "Yeah, like, we could totally do that." Like, they have the space for it, they have laptops to you know, for whatever we need, yeah, that's kinda how that started.
yeah. That's awesome. And I definitely want to go to one of those at some point. Whenever I can, you know, figure out transportation. My college is in the middle of nowhere, so it's definitely a little hard. But yeah, it'll. I definitely want to go to one. I know Gorgnum, he was one of my friends, is made it into the. I think he got eighth place in that. I guess
Yeah.
it'd be the competition or whatever you would call it to get
Yeah,
into the
the
summit.
fundraising competition. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that was I was very happy to see that for him. And yeah, it just definitely looks like a pretty fun event. Um, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's awesome. It's definitely not pace, right? That like that's kind of what most people knew us for and loved about GSA. But it really is a great event in its own way. It has a lot of things that pace didn't. You know, it's in New York, which is a you know a very cool place to explore
Yeah.
in its own way. Compared to Laurel, Maryland, you know. And it's like a more intimate thing. You know, a lot of people said that like once Pace was like more than 400 people, they missed like you know how they missed the like smaller crowds of like previous paces. So it's got that, and then also like we you know we do like a lot of just fun content, not necessarily speedrunning, which is something different to Pace as well. Pace was pretty like hardcore, like you know, try and get like great runs, challenge runs or whatever, and tournaments, right? So Speedrun Summits, it just does different stuff, and yeah, so it's really fun.
Yeah. Definitely cool to see. Um, I guess when it comes to the digital side of things for people who can't come to the events, what kind of goes into the stream? Because obviously you guys have to lay out, you have to do 24/7 streams for the events, and like I imagine have someone working on it at all or at least most times. So what kind of goes into the digital side of the event? Um,
Like broadcast production,
yeah, I guess
basically,
the,
like
the
making the stream.
broadcasting stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all of our production now is done by a group called Gen Game. That's ran by Trevor or T Mags and his team. They're a company that we've been production company we've been working with since 2022, I think. Yeah, we got connected to them through VG Bootcamp. Anyway, they do an awesome job. They've made so many of our events and like upgrades, improvements to our stream possible. And they basically are all hands on. It's like I think at Summit, I think it's a team of 3 or 4 that basically that do everything. They have like a
Wow.
camera, like a walk around camera. They have like so many like so much equipment, like from capture cards to audio cables to mixers to monitors and just everything that goes into broadcast production. So yeah, that's all Gen Game now. It used to be either just me or you know a couple other people as well. but we've now finally upgraded to just a proper like production company that's
Yeah.
actually professional in that. So yeah, the improvement in quality of the stream at Speedrun Summit is definitely because of them, and everything they've been doing with us or for us for a few years now.
Oh, that's really cool. Imagine that's definitely a big help ever since you started working with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely like when I think about what I was doing at Pace, where I was doing everything before the event and then at the event, like, supervising everything or producing or helping with setup like for the next run, for the next tournament or whatever, especially in the early paces, like it was so much. It like stresses me out to even think about like being
Yeah.
in that again. So now I'm being in a situation where I can like I still gotta like, supervise things and like if something goes wrong, like, make a decision, whatever. Be there for setup, tear down. So some things haven't changed, but it's way less on my shoulders now with these guys doing what they do. So
Yeah, that's
yeah, it's nice
nice.
to be able to like relax a little and enjoy the event. Yeah.
Yeah. And how many like at pace itself during the event, how many like hours per day do you think you were like working on stuff? Was it pretty much just nonstop, I imagine?
Yeah, so towards the end, it got lighter. The last like two events, I think, I like hired a couple extra people to help with production and just kind of offloaded some of my stuff onto new members of the team. But at its peak, which was maybe like pace, like well, from the first pace until like pace in like 2023, I want to say, because 2024 were the last ones. Um, like there was one day that I was legitimately on my feet for 22 hours straight.
Well,
Like moving her like, and that would have been like day zero going into day one, the morning of day one. So it was something like 8 a.m. on setup day until like 6 a.m. on the first day of the event, a few hours before the doors open. And yeah, I think that was because like we had like someone that was supposed to come help us that like didn't. So like I had to do their job and then our production team unfortunately like forgot a piece of equipment in New York. And so they had to
oh,
like get someone to like bring that out. So that delayed like stage setup by a few hours. So I was like running around doing other stuff while that was happening. And then once they were done, then I could like get on production to like do what I had to do. And anyway, it was like, yeah, that was too much that day. And then like, yeah, sometimes like throughout the event, it'd be like anywhere from like 8 to like 14 hours or something if there was like a particularly demanding tournament or something that I really had to help with. So yeah, it was usually like a bunch of hours like before the event started, and then like let's say like 10 hours or something a day until the event ended. But in the last like two paces, that slowed down. It was like, before the event, still a lot, but then throughout the week, it was like a chunk less, so
that's
that I could
nice.
like recover
Yeah.
recover from setup and then help out where I was needed throughout the week. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you even like awake by the time people started coming through the doors, or were you just taking a nap by that
Yeah.
point? Wow.
Yeah, yeah, no, it was like, yeah, like I'd finish like that day, that event where like it was really, really pushed to the last minute. I think I finished everything I needed to for the doors to open and everything be fine and like the stream be ready to go and everything. I finished all of that by let's say whatever it was, like 6 or 8 a.m. And then I like slept for a couple hours and then I was on the one of the first shifts in the afternoon to like run the stream. So
Wow.
yeah, it was like that for a while. Definitely not like a job that I would have passed on to anybody in the same way that I was doing it. Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I was like feeling out for someone to kind of take my role in a
Mm,
lot of the at least the supervising of the event. or supervising setup, supervising throughout the week and whatnot. Because I just couldn't do it. Like it just was a lot. So
Definitely sounds like a lot to take care of in 1 week, especially
yeah,
those first few days.
yeah. So when you were saying that like you wanted to do well, a big event, we won't spoil it.
Yeah,
But that just like stressed me out thinking about like
yeah,
doing all that for your first event. Obviously not to discourage you, but definitely yeah, it's
yeah,
not
no,
easy, man.
yeah, definitely. And I definitely have some ideas of how we're gonna make it happen. I can't really say them without saying what the event
Yeah,
is, but we have some ideas, definitely, me and the crew.
that's good. That's good.
But yeah, I guess what in Pace or Speedrun Summit or any in-person event would be like your favorite memory, like outside of the organizing it? Not that I think the organizing it would be the favorite memory, but just
Yeah.
like, yeah, what are some of your favorite moments, I guess?
Oh man. There's so many. Um, I think though the ones that are really hard to beat are like when people would come up to me and say very, very sweet things, like really generous, like stuff about it being like the best week of their lives and like even more like I don't know, very, very sensitive stuff like along those lines, like just the fact that the event meant so much to so many people, and it that like manifesting in different ways, like seeing the video that you made, or seeing group pictures after the event, or like yeah, people sharing those things with me, like yeah, that'll be the best thing for sure.
Yeah,
Um, and then maybe like I don't know, more specific stuff or kind of away from that specifically. Playing like Mario Kart with my childhood friend who came down from Ontario. Steph, maybe some people watching will know Steph. Steph is a childhood friend of mine that like to I think like 8 events now has driven from Ontario
wow,
to be at Pace and now at Speedrun Summit. I think he's been to every one. And yeah, just like hanging out with him at these events that I was putting on. And this is a guy who like was in my room like hanging out with me like while I was streaming to like nobody,
that's awesome.
back in like 2016 to like having him like, we're like having some beers playing Mario Kart or whatever with some friends at Pace, and it's like this thing where like a bunch of people are having fun and stuff. Yeah, having Steph there to see all of that and like other friends as well, like, Cheese and so many others, like just sharing all of that with people was really, really cool for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I went to both in 2023 and both in 2024, and I definitely had like some great moments in there too. And did you ever actually do a run on stage? I'm actually kind of curious. Hey guys, it's Zach here. I'm just interrupting to say that unfortunately for the rest of this episode, our face cams are going to be kind of replaced with our profile pictures, and that is just because at this point in the episode, my computer decided it got bored and it decided to start acting up. So the frame rate was pretty horrible and unwatchable, but thankfully the audio is still completely fine. So we got that going for us. We can still listen to the episode. So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up for any visual viewers. But you guys can still listen to the rest of the episode, put it on in the background, do the dishes, do your homework, walk the dog, whatever you need to do. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the discussion regardless. Thanks.
No, the closest thing I did was like a star in the relay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I maybe commentated a bit as well. Yeah, but not yeah, vast majority was behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. And I would say like I never could have imagined like how like enjoyable it is to actually play on stage in front of a crowd. The all coin stack showcase, like that was at like 1 in the morning. So I was like, okay, that was kind of what I was expecting. But then I did the darker race in summer 2024, and there was just so many Odyssey people there. And I don't know if you ever saw this moment, but there was like me and my friend made a bet. There's at the end of darker side, there's like a trick spin throw you skip where you just like spin throw to get the wire, and it saves like point 0.1, and it's a little risky to go for because if you die, obviously you have to
Okay.
restart all of darker. So my friend was like, I'll give you $20 if you go for that. So I was like, okay. And then I'm just
Good
like
friend.
going in the wire in darker side, and the whole crowd's like, oh, like, and then it's like the biggest pop off of all time for like the smallest, most like obscure trick ever. And it's just like,
Yeah.
that was like the most awesome thing ever to
Oh yeah.
experience. Everyone's just going
Those
crazy
are the
over like
moments, man.
the smallest thing ever. And then even
That's
My
awesome.
Kaizo run was like there was much smaller of a crowd, but it was like just as rewarding for me because I like routed most of Kaizo myself. Actually, Kaizo was tricky because the mod had like I kept telling the people who were making the mod, like, you got to release this mod, dude. The pace submission deadline is coming up. So they've released it like a week and a half before the deadline. So I had to like beat it and then immediately start routing and stuff. So I was very happy
Yeah.
to be able
Oh, I
to
remember this. I
showcase that.
remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
like,
well, you
please
made it
don't
work,
let this
man.
affect it.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, and then being able to show that off, and we also I think hit the incentive for the Summit Darker to be shown was really cool. And then there was a kid and his dad in the crowd. They like after the run, they like were telling me like how awesome it was, and that was really cool because it was like like the YouTube comments like came to life for a second. Just like people being like, "Yo, that was awesome." I was like, "Wow, that was really cool." So I kind of understand, I guess, where you're coming from too, with the people kind of coming up to you. Definitely, it's a really cool moment for sure. Um, yeah,
100%, yeah. It's just that shared experience that was so unique, to these events, not just to PACE, obviously, to GDQ, to ESA, to anywhere where this community meets up. But yeah, it is so special. So yeah, to have been, a part of that or to facilitate that for so many people. Yeah, I mean, yeah, nothing beats that for sure.
yeah, definitely. Um, I guess moving outside of the in-person events right now. Um, I think you mentioned, I'm pretty sure this is what the business is, but you mentioned you and your brother's business. As far as I'm aware, that's like the 24/7 streams.
Hmm.
What kind of made you decide to do that, and what was like the objective with that? And yeah, I know you use a lot of the money for these speedrun summits and all that sort of stuff too. So yeah,
Definitely, yeah. Back in the day, back in like 2019 was when we first turned the GSA stream into 24/7. And really it wasn't like a, brilliant idea or anything. It's just doing reruns really. Reruns have existed since like the 70s or the 80s or something. And I think the inspiration for it was maybe like the lo-fi channel, like the cowgirl lo-fi, like beats to chill and study to or whatever.
yeah,
And maybe I had seen something on Twitch as well, and I was like, yeah, why don't we just do like reruns of GSA stuff? So we started doing that, and that was doing really well. A lot of people liked it. Some people also like made fun of us for it because like so much of our content was Mario stuff, because that was like what had the most viewership on our channel. So we did a lot of it, and that's where like me, Cheese, and Steve came from, that community. Like, yeah, it's no secret, right? The GSA was like a
yeah,
big Mario 64 thing. So we had a lot of Mario 64 content, and that's what we used for the 24/7 channels for the reruns. It wasn't just Mario 64, but whatever. It was like the bulk of it for sure. And so even though it was like, the silent majority were like enjoying it, there were some people like making fun of us for it. So like we pivoted to adding some other content. I don't know if this was before or after that, but we started doing a thing like a World Records Wednesday thing. We had like on permission from some world record holders of different games to play their videos on our channel. On Wednesdays, and then we did Task Tuesdays, kind of a similar thing. And then we did like a few other things, but anyway, that went really well in 2019. It was making GSA like a bunch of extra revenue that we really needed to, well, for all the events and everything. And so, yeah, I just knew that that was something that worked really well. And I saw other and lots of people have seen like other orgs do the same thing. ESA started doing it, GDQ started doing it, and yeah, we just knew like it was working. And so we stopped running it for a while because we wanted to pivot totally to world records, which is what it is now. Just having permission from like hundreds and hundreds of different world record holders to basically rebroadcast those world records on the channel. And yeah, that we started that in 2024, I think. So the stream ran originally for like 2 years or something, 24/7. Took a break and then it's been running again since then.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so off of that, spinning off of that, I thought like, oh, this like if this worked for us and it's working for other people, like this could definitely work for content creators. And we had already seen like, I don't know if like PewDiePie has
Yeah.
had a 24/7 channel for like years, and some
Sure,
other
yeah.
people as well. So I got into looking into like how to like basically set that up for other people, not just GSA. And I kind of came up with like a business model to do it. And yeah, me and my little brother have been working on that for almost 2 years now, to provide that service for other content creators to just do reruns on like a separate channel, on Twitch and on YouTube. And yeah, and it's going really well.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely cool. Like, I feel like it's a good way to, make extra money, especially for like the events, and then you can run the events for charity, obviously. So in my mind, it's a mostly pretty harmless way to like kind of, be able to make extra money and help other people make extra money and succeed in their jobs and stuff. So I think it's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah. It's been really, really fun. I know not everyone likes the channels or they think they're cringe or whatever. But like there's so many positives in it that outweigh that like tenfold. Like you said, it's really making some serious extra money for some content creators that like, especially the content creators that are like borderline full time, that like
Yeah.
are still like pushing to be comfortably full time. It's really making a difference for guys like that. It's also just really nice for a lot of people in their communities. They really
Yeah.
do love them. Like there's a reason they get viewers. It's like cozy to just throw it on and tune in throughout the day or whatever. Like just have it on in the back, or like any 24/7 stream or like music stream or whatever. Yeah, so yeah, we really like it. It's fun. And obviously it's really like it's making um it's making it seem like it's possible for me to buy a house one day,
Wow. Okay.
which is like, you know,
It's
crazy.
good. Hard to do in
Yeah,
this
which
world.
yeah,
Yeah.
very hard. And and like obviously it like facilitates, being able to do the extra stuff like continuing to basically work on Twitch stuff as my job. So like doing speedrun summits and stuff like that. But yeah, it is just nice to have something that now I am doing like responsibly for me and my fiance's future and our kids' future. And you know, um, yeah, that's like the biggest motivator because it has to be.
Yeah.
I live in West Coast Canada in the like one of the top 10 most expensive cities in the world.
Yeah.
So
Definitely
yeah,
important.
it's not easy, like you
Yeah.
said. Yeah.
Definitely. Um, yeah. Uh, as far as I guess the content side of things go, I did see somewhat recently that the GSA YouTube started making some videos. Do you see a
Yeah.
future?
Run
Do you see
lower.
do you see a future with the YouTube? I think there's only been a couple, but I did notice that.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, we said this for a long time, like it's with other guys in GSA, but the ratio of like content creators on YouTube making like narrative or whatever well edited videos and stuff to like the potential audience that there is so lopsided. Like there can be so many more, and now there are, speedrunning content creators on YouTube telling stories, like talking about new glitches coming, like whatever it is. That yeah, there is such an opportunity there for people to do that. And I had, and like I had always seen that, as I'm sure many people did, but like I'm not a video editor, and like I never really put in the time to like to learn how to edit and do it myself. So we had an opportunity with someone that like wanted to work with us on that, where like I would kind of oversee the project and kind of maybe give tips on the script or the direction of the video or whatever. And then they would do the actual editing, and we would do like a revenue share and all this stuff. And so yeah, so we've tried it with a couple videos. It's been a while since we put one out, but we did 2, and it was really fun, like, even if, they haven't gone viral or whatever, it was really fun, good learning experience, and yeah, I could definitely, make a comeback, um, later down the line. Yeah, it's just fun. It's good content to make. It's also very cool to see lots of long time, maybe traditional speedrun streamers, like, pivot into making, content on YouTube because they
Yeah,
see that
definitely.
opportunity too, or they have stuff they feel they could talk about or whatever. Anyway, yeah, I love seeing that, and
Yeah,
we thought we'd give it a try too.
for sure, definitely. Um,
Yeah.
with your career and in this, and as the events and stuff, what have been like some of your favorite communities to work with? And are there any like communities that you want to like that you're trying to work with more often? Because obviously speedrunning, there's so many different sub communities across so many different games.
Yeah. It's a great question. I mean, it's hard, to not be biased, towards the Mario 64 community. That's where, like, so many of my friends are and stuff. So obviously they for my personal, like, anecdotal whatever
Yeah,
experience, they have an unfair advantage. But, like, outside of Mario 64, there's so many, like, the Mario Odyssey community was always great, Celeste community was great, SpongeBob community, like, there's so many. The A really cool one, and I guess I'm saying this more because of how innovative the content was the Mario Bros. 1 community, and Flibbity Dibbity, his tournaments that he put together at a couple PACE events, and now they're at other events as well now, they're doing their own at one of those. Anyway, so cool. The Super Mario Bros. One, where like all 8 players, I think it is, are on one screen. And this guy Flibbity, he's such a beast. He like developed the whole thing himself, for it to be playable in that way, and like have all this like streamlined like data and the POVs and all this stuff. So being a part of that, being a part of, or having played a part in that, being part of PACE. Sorry, I'm saying this terribly, but yeah, that was really cool. And working with him and those guys was really fun. Just like seeing a new way to do competitive speedrunning, which was, kind of what we were trying to do, in a different way, obviously, like from the beginning. I think that's why that really resonated with me, and I was like, "Damn, this is like what a cool thing this community is doing."
yeah, definitely. Um, and yeah, I guess what have you learned over these several years of hosting events? Uh, like, is there anything that any lessons that you've kind of learned that you're taking moving forward, I guess?
Oh, yeah, I could write books
Yeah,
about different aspects of whether it's like business management, development, like working with people, like letting some stuff slide, like yeah, choosing your battles and stuff like that. I think I think the biggest thing is for something to be sustainable. Um, Anything that you do, you have to work with people. And for people to want to keep like doing that thing, there needs to be the proper incentive for it. And I think the healthiest incentive is that it's just fun to them. So that is like the number one thing that I've taken with me to Speedrun Summit now is inviting people that like want to come and want to just do like when I ask them to do like what they want to do, it's literally just like what is the most fun thing for you? Is this going to be too much? Is this too little? Is this like, does this give you enough free time to like hang out in New York with your friends? Like, um, yeah. And so like while, like, money is important, and everyone needs to be responsible with, like, their time commitment versus what they're getting out of it and where they are in life and whether, that obviously changes what you can and can't do in regards to that. The number one thing once it's said is and done is, did people have a great time? Will they wanna do it again? Like, was it a good memory for them? Like, yeah, so, like, that being, the priority, um, above all else is yeah, that's the only thing I really care about with these events anyway. Um, yeah, 'cause it is a really difficult thing to balance,
Yeah,
um, trying to be financially responsible and, like, trying to be fair and trying to, um, whatever. There's so many things that come into, like, decisions you have to make. Around these events and things you have to say no to and things you have to cut out or disappoint people with or whatever. And so even applying it to myself, I wouldn't want to do another week long like stressful charity marathon where I'm taking on all this financial risk and all this stuff. Speedrun Summit is peak for me. It's like more relaxing. It's in a cool place. I get to see my friends. So yeah, I'm applying it to myself as well. Does this make sense for me out of like what I'm getting out of it, like just enjoyment wise, stress wise, and all that stuff? And if not, like when the answer to that is no, then I'm gonna stop doing it. You know?
makes sense. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So just a shift in priorities as you get older, I guess, or as you do things. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think anyone could blame you either, because like, that's a lot of work to put on like events in general, let alone 400 plus uh person in-person events for a week that you have to like find a venue, do this and do that. It's a lot of work for sure. So definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely important. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice because I'm really proud of what we did. Me, Cheese, and Steve, and the gang back in the day, and then everyone we've worked with, like everyone who has done runs at our events or like organized group things to do or tournaments, comment like it's looking back at all of that, like it didn't exist before, 450 people or whatever, like coming together to be at this thing and with their friends and everything. So it is over, but it was, I mean, the memories you have of it,
Yeah.
are like the memories that I have and so many other people do. So that made it all worth it. Couldn't go on forever, but I'm glad it happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And like honestly, without it, like that was the first time I got to like, meet a lot of my friends who at the time I guess I had known for like 3 years at that point, in person. And I feel like it kind of led the doorway, like opened the doorway to meetups. And now whenever I'm like in their area, or we always try to like make meetups happen wherever we can. So it definitely kind of, started that like era, I guess, for me, where I could actually, meet a lot of people. So it definitely meant a lot to me. And it was a really, really cool
Glad,
event
man.
for sure. Yeah. Anyway,
Good to hear.
I'm almost finished here, but the last question I guess is just what's next for GSA and for events. Obviously, you have Speedrun Summit coming up, so future Speedrun Summits. Is there any other uh, kind of in-person or online events that you've been discussing? And yeah, what's next, I guess.
Yeah, we are. I'd say like 30% towards doing a different kind of summit event. It's one I'm really excited about to potentially do with some really cool people. Hopefully this year, later this year, if not, then next year. But yeah, that's something we're working on behind the scenes to hopefully make happen. But other than that, we keep the speedrun summits going as they are. Every time we get to work with new people, fundraising with their communities and stuff, and then coming up to the events. So that's so fun. The online fundraisers are so fun. Like popping around from stream to stream and seeing like different people fundraising and the different ways they're doing it is just amazing. So yeah, that along with speedrun summits, and the 24/7 streams, as long as people care about them and want to keep watching them, they'll be there. And um, yeah, and then hopefully this new event later in the year.
Yeah, so that's not Speedrun Summit. It's something else. I'm like, but the same kind of size, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
similar.
cool.
Yeah, pretty much that.
Nice. Would that be at Urban Arts or somewhere else?
I think so. Yeah, I think all of our events from now on will be at Urban Arts. Yeah, unless I like pass off, the GSA brand or whatever or something to somebody else that like has an idea that they want to do, somewhere else, like which, we've had invitations to like do stuff in Europe and like in different places around the US, like since base has been over. But I've learned for myself that I don't want to like spear that anymore. Especially like, just traveling, being away from my
Yeah,
fiance and stuff like that. I just twice a year at Speedrun Summit is good. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for GSA for the foreseeable future.
makes sense. Well, yeah, thank you so much for joining. This has been a great episode. Honestly, probably one of my favorite discussions of the series so far. So I definitely appreciate you coming on. Um, Everyone, make sure to tune in to the stream for Speedrun Summit in a few weeks. Sure that will be
Hell yeah.
a cool event
Man,
for sure.
thank you so much for having me on to chat. It's nice to catch up with you. You're one of the OG like pace and SMO people that I think of when I think of like communities we've worked with. So yeah, really nice to chat with you, man. And yeah, I hope you keep this going and you talk to lots of cool people.
No, thank you. Appreciate that. And yeah, thank you to the viewers for watching. Next episode will be out in probably like a month and a half, and then I'll try to do, every 2 weeks once the summer kicks in. But yeah, that's it for this episode. See you guys in the next one.